Here at Pulsar, we want to design a lightweight mouse without holes. Can you manage that? 100%, no holes, boss. You got it. No honeycombs? No honeycombs. Correct. Okay, how about circles? No, no circles either. No circles either, okay. Hearts and diamonds? No, Christ, no holes. Deal with it. I'm getting a frappuccino.
Many months later.
Thank you. Xlite V2.
Why are you the way that you are?
Pulsar are a fledgling Korean brand that have appeared on the scene and made waves with their clean designs, high quality products and competitive pricing. The first Wireless Xlite was a good mouse, but there were a few minor points holding it back and stopping it from being truly great. The Xlite V2 looks to correct these and deliver a truly great wireless ergo mouse, and spoilers, I think Pulsar have absolutely done just that. Rather than $75 for the V1, the Wireless Xlite V2 now retails at $80. It also sticks to the three colours of black, white and red, but there are some limited edition options or brand partnership exclusives. And of course, we all know corporate branding on your peripherals increases headshot accuracy by at least 10%, so worth? Unfortunately, my channel wasn't nearly important enough to be sent one of these big boy versions, so I have one of the regular Joe boxes, which includes the mouse packing a Pulsar 3370 sensor and KL 8.0 switches, a wireless receiver, an adapter, and a soft, flexible USB-C cord. All of which has been personalised to Pulsar and looks and feels pretty premium, punching way above its weight for an $80 mouse. There's also a pretty lightweight software bundle that lets you tune and configure the usual suspects like pull rate, debounce and lift-off distance as you'd expect. Shape-wise, it's pretty much the wireless EC2 that the Counter-Strike community have been screaming out for and Zowie still refuse to make. Though if you do want to get into the weeds, the Xlite is a little bit smaller than the EC2 in almost every measurable dimension. The closest shaped wireless competitor is probably the ever popular dump truck of a mouse, the Razer DeathAdder V2. But where the Xlite is different is you still get a mouse that looks thick on the surface, but is lighter than a Mirkwood Elf, weighing 59 grams on the scales. That's in the Logitech Superlight category with a mouse of similar size that retails at half of its MSRP, ignoring flash deals. Whatever other shade you want to toss at it, the Xlite V2 remains an undeniably good deal. But in my opinion, it's far more than that, and putting price aside for a moment, this is just a great mouse full stop. Firstly, and most obviously, the sides are now solid, thank the maker. I can't tell you how much personal joy it brings me that mice are leaving 2018 behind and starting to ditch the cheap and tacky honeycomb. My only complaint is that they didn't take the 2g L and just remove the strip vents from the top for a modern and cleaner look altogether. They've also shifted the battery from the centre of the mouse to the rear, which helps massively with weight balance and feel in the hand. Scroll wheel's the next change, which has been made larger and is now easier to reach. If you are the type of guy that suffers from scroll wheel performance anxiety, rest assured, Pulsar got you covered with this one. And lastly, click implementation is said to have been improved also. You wouldn't exactly invite your crush over to click test and chill, but at the same time they're not a complete mushy mess, so I'll take that one as another dub for Pulsar. Whilst the main clicks are okay, this unfortunately isn't true for the side buttons, which still use the elevated micro dots found in the V1. Kind of feel like I need to start a Gamers Against Microdot alliance until companies collectively agree to retire these switches, because at this point they are so miserable to use they should be considered an international war crime. The click sound, feel and feedback is all inferior to traditional switches in my opinion, and these should have absolutely been left behind on the V1. Pulsar are also probably mostly well known for their slippery mouse glass, the Pulsar Superglide skates, and you should probably note that the Xlite V2 doesn't ship with these as standard. The stock PTFE used on the Xlite V2 is kind of mid in my opinion, with a lot of friction and roughness to the glide, especially when compared with premium aftermarket options. If you are planning to use the Xlite V2 as a main, honestly, treat yourself to some aftermarket skates and thank your boy Get Reviews for the smooth ride, especially on hybrid pads and HEM weaves. In terms of an ergo shape, it is divisive, and unlike something more generic and safe, it absolutely isn't going to be for everyone. I typically don't like larger mice and have nothing but contempt for ergo shapes, so I was fully expecting to throw up in my mouth a little bit when I laid my hand on the Xlite V2. But there is something about the Xlite V2 that kind of does make it work for me in the same way that the Xtrify M4 wireless did. I typically play fingertip on small symmetrical mice, but the reduced dimensions made that possible on the Xlite V2 despite its ergonomic shape. It also felt completely natural to relax claw, and that grip style helped a lot with recoil stability and smooth tracking in particular. I also think the sub 60g weight helped a lot with my own personal comfort with it. It took a lot less adjustment time than if I'd swapped for an 85g Chungus ergo like the DeathAdder V2. The type of gamer I think that might want to check out the Xlite V2 is someone that's competitive and comfortable at 60g but has heard the boomer hype about the EC2 shape and wants to try it out but not put up with the zowie weights and cable. With its fair price, flagship specs and solid build quality, the Xlite V2 really should be an easy recommendation for anyone. But honestly, I can't say that it isn't. That's not because the mouse is bad in any way. Like I said, I actually think it's all killer, no filler. None of the changes Pulsar have made for the V2 individually are worth an upgrade, but collectively, they do make a much more complete product. And with only a $5 premium over the V1, there's almost no reason for you to buy a V1 at this point. But whilst the mouse is a solid pick, none of that is going to change the fact that this mouse is unapologetically ergonomic. You're going to need to be comfortable with curves for days in a way that you absolutely don't to use everyone's favourite esports potato, the G Pro X Superlight. My aim is mid at best, but I never felt I was playing at whatever modest peak my abilities allow on the Xlite V2, not because it's a bad mouse, but because it just isn't my shape. But that's not to say it isn't going to be your shape, and I can't really fault the mouse on anything objectively, especially at the price point that Pulsar have managed to achieve. And if you do happen to identify as ergosexual, then I can't see any reason why the Xlite V2 wouldn't be right at the top of your wish list for mice in 2022. I am so pleased that Pulsar have continued to carve out a real name for themselves in the industry and iterate on an already great mouse, putting pressure on others to either up their game or lower their prices to compete. I've been Gary, this has been Get Reviews. Like, subs and comments below, and I will see you in the next.